So we've reached the second part of the canal feeder. It gets a little bit more interesting. The actual weir, or the dam, probably the most interesting part of the higher Goddard Channel canal feeder. And I think start that again. Okay. Manchester, UK. Brief videos of time with Stephen Goddard. This is a modern sculpture trail, part of the Irwell's sculpture trail. Along, if you like to walk along the Irwell, that is. That stork's in the area, by the way, and it's teasing me. And at last, I think I may have a decent shot of the heron. So this is the Goddard Channel feeder. As it reaches another interesting point, it's a bit like a narrowboat canal, I'd say, but it probably was shipping things around, you know, mill to mill, before it gets a bit more complicated. So it goes, the weir is the most interesting point. I love that weir. I don't know why, it fascinates me, it draws me to it. I love it. So, lake number 1, which is fed from the canal feeder. So this is the first sign of its being useful. So that's the site of Burrs Mill in the distance, and we're going to try and get a bit of info about that as we go. So the Goddard Channel feeder makes its first real mark here and comes underneath here. So we should get that and feeds that, which is now used. Those ducks are coming into land like at the airport, like Harrier jump jets onto a carrier. They do land with quite a lot of skill. So they train people in kayaks and canoes and boats in that lake now. And here's the first weir, or dam, which is obviously the site of Burrs Mill. Now it's all very confusing. Some sites are older, some sites are more modern, because there's red brick there, stone down there. The weir looks to be made out of an older stone. The chimney's obviously the newest item. Like I say, it's a very high-tech mill, this. It's got, we're the first one to have a steam-powered engine, which you will see, and we are going to film. We've also got to get a shot of the aqueduct. So these are the main mill sites, filter beds, there's all kinds of iron structures. As I say, there's different types of walls. There's a bridge over there. There's also a bridge over there. I am trying to be careful of the wind. As we pan along and around and try and get the full height of the chimney, as it is to this day, obviously, because that chimney was probably almost double that height as most of the chimneys were. It's a cool structure there. Sculpture. Some noisy ducks all playing, actually are playing, because they've all come back home and they're all excited that they've been out for the day. So here's the inside of the mills. There's actually a filter bed inside the mill. There's another filter bed over there inside the mill. You'll see staircases in the walls. Another little fire chimney here. And the main guy's over in that direction. That becomes the Elton Canal feeder now. This half of the canal feeder becomes the power house for the Burrs area. They're the old cottages for the workers, and I'm just going to get down from off this wall because I'm aware there's wind. So I'll repeat things just in case the wind was ruining things a little bit for us. So we need to film the weir. And as I say, the canal, the main channel, is over there. And it isn't quite as interesting, so that'll be part 3. This is part 2 of the breakdown of the Guyt. And as we lead off down towards Elton, I'll include the other side of this weir and the bridge that is over there. I have filmed in the past. That's the main channel coming this way, filling this area. A reservoir there, and the main weir and Guyt. And the energy is gathered. I think there's a wheel sited in the middle there. If I'm right, there's a little slot for a wheel. So that's used for power, and also you need to get the water inside for boiling. And also you need to get the water inside the mill for boiling, so it's not just the energy of the water flow that they use, the actual water is needed. You'd say most of these things are water based. Most of the products they're producing are water based. So the inks, dyes, bleaches, printing, newspapers are popular, paper, making papers popular. So it's cotton, paper and printing. And a lot of bleaching because the paper has to be bleached. And obviously inks and dyes for printing processes. You could only really mass produce printing in black and white right up until 1980, where they first introduced red and white and black newspapers. Some had blue, and that was before the full colour print, which is in the 90s. Some papers, you know, sold millions of papers on the fact that their papers were all in colour. I remember, and it used to just be the Sunday newspapers at first. So most things were black and white. Especially, they printed the newspapers the same day. It was seen as very advanced. Like the story of, once I told, of the dam breach of Whiteheads. That would have been reported in the newspapers, but that would have been a couple of days later by the time they compiled it. So this is site of Burrs Mill we've got there. And this is all still contained within the feeder, canal feeder. So there's much older. So it's stone, a lot of it's stone, Burrs Mill. The red stuff is the upgrades when the steam engine's been put in. So they've not knocked down the existing site, but they have modernised it. Older walls, and you'll get a shot of the old farm, which is now the Brown Cow. I think I said Black Bull before. It's the Brown Cow public house, which is the old farm. The old residential cottages. There's a little bit of mill site in there, older wall over the road. Then we come to this. Okay, Manchester, UK, brief videos of time with Stephen Goddard. And just an interesting point here, one of my favourite points about where I am today. Sometimes you get old people and younger people, and they say they don't get along so well. You know, some people say you don't respect the past, you don't understand the past. But interestingly enough, the site I'm on now was Fred Dibner, the famous steeplejack. This was actually one of his favourite sites to come to. And that's just a totally different generation to me, to be honest. But the fascination is the same. You wouldn't catch me climbing up one of those. But our heritage and you know what they've done here is fantastic when you think about it. So, as I said, I'm going to try and explain why this is a bit more modern. So the red area, the red bricks, is where the steam engine's housed. So they're the older workings of the older site. Stone roads, cobbled, red brick, and the old window wedges you can just catch. Older stone. And as I said, here's our Industrial Revolution maker. This is what made it all possible. Machines like this, steam powered engines. This is not a mobile steam powered engine. They were the next advancement. So they started to attach steam powered engines onto a train, which then ran on a track, and the whole world changed. But the whole world changed when this was invented. That's the very first engine that we know of. We don't know about the ancient world. We're not going to do anything like that. In our current understanding, that is the very first engine, or one of the very first engines ever made, which was powerful enough to take over. It's a bit like nuclear power. One brick, that's it. One of those cobbles, if that was a nuclear, like a uranium rod, would be able to power this entire site for about 50 years. That took over all these water wheels and all the mechanisms because it's much more powerful. Then the next advancement is electricity. So it's very interesting, isn't it? And this is where the Goyt splits. We get the aqueduct as part of this shoot, as I said. So we've got plenty of the walls. So this is the site that was owned and updated by Robert Peel, Jesse Howarth, and Mr. Yates. Mill Race. So that's the mill race. It's what it's called. So that's the water channel that runs through the mills, powering it originally. And these are old filter beds. They're making cotton at first, then they turned to bleach and paper pulping. You may or may not know, they ended up very wealthy people. Mr. Yates, Mr. Howarth and Mr. Peel. I'm sure the lineage, the family name, the family is still very wealthy, and they'll be associated with royal families and politicians and, you know, part of the elite, as it were. But this is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, as I say, Fred Dibner, the famous historian, TV presenter, this is one of his very favourite sites. He came back here all the time, basically looking for the same view I am. So, did you like that link? So, this water channel goes off underneath towards the site of the cottages. We came from that direction. Remember, this is still the Goyt Canal feeder, but it's split in two. The main feeder now goes off over in that direction towards Elton Reservoir, which is Manchester Bury Bolton Canal's reservoir. So we'll follow the Goyt on this side quickly now, because it's more just pretty now than science. It's more just pretty to look at. than any scientific, you know, facts. You're going to have loads of footage of this guy to be looking at as well, because as I say, these are updates, and once I get my stuff together, I'll be able to edit the better pilots down to short clips in between the main sections. So we go off down there, and it goes over a bridge. And we're going to get a shot of the well while we're here, I think. Normally we'd go over that bridge there, but we're just going to go down and get a quick glimpse of the well in its glory and see the bridge. So the canal feeder goes across that bridge there. There's people just about to cross it, so we're going to go pan down onto the river. You can see the power in that river, which is used all the way down to Manchester. It does flatten out slightly. We're quite steep up here. We're high up and the river's travelling quite fast with quite a lot of force and power. So I can go back up the hill at the cottages. So as I say, the guy goes under the blue bridge behind the cottages, and over that footbridge we saw, the actual water channel is in the footbridge, which I find an amazing feat of engineering. Incidentally, we're talking 1800. The original mill and the guide channel for the canal, Bury Bolton Canal, had to be put in 1800. The actual reservoir is a bit later because it needed more water, as it used 200 million litres of water a day, the main Bury to Bolton Canal, for the locks at Preston-Lee. They're called Knob End locks. So them locks were so active, and they were using, you know, so much tonnage and material was going down the canal. 200 million litres a day. The Rochdale to Manchester Canal had 7 reservoirs because it had so many lock gates. Needed 7 reservoirs, and water was always in demand. There was always trouble and running out of water. The Bury to Bolton canal stretch, incidentally, is completely flat, so it only requires the waters for the locks at Knob End, which connects it to the Salford Canal, which goes down through. Much closer section of Manchester area. It's the Manchester area. Goes down to the Castlefield Basin, Salford, Quays, Manchester Ship Canal. So what I'm going to say is, so it's the year 1800, most things are stone, everyone's using the big brick stones. This older stuff here, I love this sort of stuff, it's very regimental and official looking, I think. It's like the gentleman of brickwork. But look, that's a modern day brickwork, which is very confusing, which I find fascinating. This is grade 2 listed, one of the rarest aqueducts of its type in England. I think there's only 2, and this is the better one. In our little town of Bury, in the city of Greater Manchester, or Manchester, which is the second biggest city now in Great Britain. It's overtaken Birmingham on a density. I've recently worked that out with science, by the way. Population density and actual activity and employment and investment. And we've actually got the BBC situated here now, so it's all good. It's up, all going, it's all on the up, Manchester. We're just ripe. Almost like a second industrial revolution, because we've been left behind while further advancements were made in the south, I'd say. But we're all open now. We've got all the land to build on. all the networks. So yeah, just going to end on possibly my favourite structure. These top the pyramids in Giza for me personally. So 200 years ago, and they're made of modern brick like that. I think it's cut from slate to make it waterproof. That's just a technical guess. I'm sure engineers out there, you know, see where I'm coming from, and hopefully I'm right on that. Because red brick is, you know, much later in history. Sorry, I do relax a bit. So, as the River Irwell goes off, as I say, we'll have another section explaining how they split. So, I did say section 3. Section 3 will explain how the main reservoir split and how the mills are powered. So section 4 will lead off, and we'll actually follow the guide now all the way over to the main reservoir for the main canal. So section 3, we'll have a walk around the site, and then we're going to go off along the greatest aqueduct I know of. It's just history's just left this behind, and luckily people have probably kept their eye on it. But basically, it's so well built, so sturdy, such a good design, it's still there. Very few leaks, doesn't look like it's crumbling. So, peace out Manchester UK, as we end on a shot of the rapid Irwell. And Mr. Stark keeps flying by. He just flew by twice when I missed him. Mr. Heron, Mrs. Heron, landing up there on the guide channel. I think he's actually trying to tease me, Manchester. So that's it, that's a full length episode there. And I'm not sure if this is the Peel Mill which was used as a prisoner of war camp, but it definitely did exist, and it's near two arches. That's all. I've seen an old photograph in black and white, and it's near two arches like those. Oh, remember the railway? Oh, that was ages ago. I'm going to be filming the railway on the next section, so anywhere where there's two arched bridges together like that will be the site of the Peel Mill, which was the prisoner of war camp. I think there's 3 Peel Mills, so we'll just keep our eyes peeled. But this does look uncannily like the site. So I'll go on the internet as I'm walking around and filming the guy, and I'll try and get the name of the soldier who, well, he gave his life to save 2 young girls from drowning in the Irwell. That was 1938, and they'd fallen in. And it was a freezing cold day, so I think he died of hypothermia. So there you go, he was fighting against us, and he sort of done his bit to justify being a nice guy after all. Most people who are soldiers are nice people, you know. They have to do a job. National defence and war, you know, it's a horrible topic and it's a horrible thing that happens, but it does happen. Wars have been going on since before records of history and time began. Vikings, Romans, way back, and wars are still going on, as we know to this day. You know, Israel and West Bank, China has difficulties. We have terrorism, worldwide terrorism problem, as we know of. Great Britain's about to leave Europe, and I think we're going to have some issues over the Irish border. And nobody likes falling out with Ireland, you know. Believe it or not, the average British person would be willing to let the Irish have whatever deal they actually want, with nothing against controlling people or anything like that. I wish we could have come to a better arrangement with Northern Ireland, to be honest. Shouldn't feel so separated from us. Maybe if we make the British Isles a 5-nation state instead of 4, or 6 with Cornwall. Or 6 with Cornwall. But seriously, you know, we don't want trouble, we don't want that sort of thing again, bombing, you know, our town centres and people under pressure because we don't include people. A lot of people don't understand the Irish problem, you know. The average English, and I think Scottish and Welsh are the same, don't really understand the troubles in Ireland. political problem, and I think we could do a little bit better. Right, so we've gone full swing, come right through the whole mill. So we've got some of industry, some of history, and once again we have a brief video of time with Stephen Goddard, which is mainly what it's about. So down we go. And I'll just flick it onto a different setting so we can try and get further down towards the Guy Canal. Seeing as though we've gone full swing, I might as well get this section and make it a full length edition. Manchester, UK. Not so brief videos of time. And we're just getting some rain. So an exclusive special edition is the main way, which is basically part one of the Manchester, Bury, Bolton Canals Company, or Company Canal, Lancashire, Yorkshire Railway Company. Weir. So we're going to do the full length of the canal, and we're going to include Bolton section, but the main weir and where the guy starts in that direction is going to be an exclusive limited edition, so it's not going to be released just yet. Got to keep people interested, you know what I mean? So we're off in that direction. We're going to follow the full canal over that direction. I know I always say in the next section, but we're going to end on that with some music. Peace out, Manchester, UK.